It's about the wrestlers with your host, Crazy Joe, on the Total Chaos Pecaw.
So, tell our listeners about yourself a little bit.
As far as what,
Tell our listeners, when do you first saw wrestling?
when I first saw wrestling, I hate to guess how old I was, but, man, I was probably like 6 or 7. And I just remember watching it with my grandpa, and I kind of fell in love with it. Like, the first wrestler I ever actually remember seeing was Ric Flair. And if I was 6 or 7, it's probably WCW, I'd guess. I just remember the robes just being overly extravagant. So that's just like one of the first things that caught my eye.
So you must have loved Ric Flair, huh?
Yeah, that was just like, I just remember the robes and it just being this big extravaganza, and I think that's what caught my eye more than anything.
You must have liked the whole Ric Flair Sting angle, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, because then shortly after that I seen Sting, and I quickly very much become a Sting fan.
I was a Sting fan too. So I liked the guys with the painted face, and you know what I mean. So that was pretty good.
Yeah.
So tell our listeners, when do you first started in wrestling?
I started wrestling in 2008. I was in the Marine Corps, and I started training then. And then I actually ended up blowing my knee out playing football for the Marine Corps. Like, it was like an intramural type team. And I blew my knee out. And then during that time, I ended up getting married and had a kid. And so I ended up taking 4 years away from wrestling and started back again in 2012.
So can you tell our listeners about your trainer?
I don't really talk about it much because I didn't have a good experience.
All right, that's cool.
As far as that, I went out and I just kind of started learning on my own.
No, that's cool. Not a problem. Not a problem. Was it easy or hard, the training?
Oh, the training wasn't. I mean, it was rigorous, but it was more mental than it was physical. Like, if you could break through that first like physical barrier, you were all right. It was just all the mental stuff that goes along with it is and I hate, and again it's gonna sound cliche, but the mental part is so much more a part of what we do over the physical.
So did you ever want to give up?
No, I mean, this is something I've wanted to do since I was a kid. So, like, give up was never a option for me.
And how did you pay your dues?
Setting up the ring, taking it down after shows, and just setting up the building. And in a lot of those early years, like, it was a lot of driving and just helping with whatever I could and just listening.
That's pretty cool. Can you tell our listeners about your first match?
Well, my first match, I wasn't Andrew Hunter yet. I just had a mask on, and I went out there and, I lost.
So can you tell?
It's not a road less traveled. I guess it is anymore. But, the way I was trained very old school, so nothing was given. Everything is earned. And you just go out there, you just do what you're told.
So can you tell our listeners who you were before Andrew Hunter? If you want to.
My first match as Andrew Hunter?
No. Who were you before Anthony Hunter? Or Andrew Hunter? Because you said you were under the mask and you weren't Andrew Hunter. So if somebody wanted to check,
just man, that was so long ago. Like, I'm sure it was just some generic name. It was just kind of get the guy over. It wasn't about me. Like, I don't even remember the name because it was a different name every show.
All right, that's cool. Hey, we have to get put over somehow. You know what I mean? We're not all perfect. But I apologize if I was being rude or anything. Tell our listeners about Andrew Hunter's first match then.
My first match as Andrew Hunter was in Central City, Kentucky. I believe my first match was a tag match. We kind of come in and was doing this angle. Like, I'd already been trained and everything, and I moved back to Kentucky after I got out of the military, and started. And I went to a show with a buddy of mine who's also a wrestler by the name of Benny Smalls, and we went. I went to the show with him, and I got bit by the bug again. It's an itch you really can't scratch. So I was like, all right, what do I got to do? And in Kentucky, you have a commission, in which you have to be licensed by the state and all this other stuff in order to wrestle. So I went and got all that taken care of. And my first match as Andrew Hunter was in August of 2012, August 3rd. And I take that back. It wasn't a tag match. It was actually just like a battle royal. Like, they brought us in to do this big, invasion type thing. And I was with a group called Defiant. And we come in and just beat up their top babyface tag team and eliminated them from the battle royal, and we jumped out immediately afterwards.
And how long did that feud go on?
Oh, shoot. From August to November.
That's pretty good. I'm a big invasion angle. I love the invasion angles because it makes it exciting and unpredictable.
Well, basically what it was, all the other guys in the group were affiliated with another company, and that company kind of shut down, and they just started running spot shows, just big money shows, and nobody was happy, and that's actually who I got licensed under. And when they decided, hey, we're just going to run these spot shows, we weren't satisfied with wrestling once every 3 or 4 months, so we jumped ship and went over there, and it was close enough that they shared some of the same fans, so they quickly got on the ball with that and was like, all right, this is what we're going to do. We're not officially going to say this company's invading, but we're going to make it look like it. And that's what we did, and we was off to the race, man.
So that sounds pretty cool. It sounds pretty cool. And can you tell our listeners the end game on this feud?
Basically, it's built up to a Survivor Series type match. It was the 5 members of Defiance against their top babyface tag team, who was their tag team champions, and another tag team, which was the promoter and his tag team partner. And this is where the story kind of gets interesting. We're going to leave names out, obviously. 2 of the guys ended up popping on a drug test. So they were immediately taken out of the match. So we went in there, the heels down. So it was kind of obvious how things were going to play out at that point. And anyway, the Defiance was vanquished, and we all kind of split up and started doing our own things. One guy, like, he just kind of stepped away from wrestling after that. He was one of the guys that was actually in the match. He just stepped away from wrestling after that and started enjoying his life outside of wrestling, which was nothing wrong with that. And that was the guy I was talking about before, Benny Smalls. He just kind of stepped away from wrestling, and he just enjoys his life.
You gotta enjoy what you. Go ahead. Sorry.
So it worked out for the most part. After that, like, I started quickly getting a lot of heat. So they started rolling with what I was doing, and I adopted that. I became the Misfit Messiah. I started leading a new stable called the Church of the Misfits, which was one guy, he'd been there a while, and the other two guys were guys fresh out of training. And I kind of just was like, here, we'll run with this. And it was a group of very rugged-looking individuals. Like, I was the only one that actually wore wrestling gear. Like, everybody else had boots and stuff, but, I mean, they just looked rugged, like, kind of like a punk rock look. And the focus point of that was to kind of, like, elevate me to that next level. But things happened, and I departed from that company before it fully paid off. I mean, we went from, I think, March of 2013 with that stable until October of 2013, and I ended up leaving. Just things weren't working out, and I had better offers elsewhere, and it was just, and that was one of those companies, like, you kind of had to, like, you took everything that they had before everything else. And I was getting, and it kind of got money. At the end of the day, I was making more money elsewhere.
So tell our listeners your first title belt.
My first championship didn't come until October of 2014. I was the second ever Coliseum Championship Wrestling Tri-State Champion. And I held that until, I only held it for like a month and a half, because they had another guy come in at the time. They were trying to elevate him, so it was like, you got a lot of heat, so you don't really need the title. The title needed to do more than you needed it. So my reign ended kind of abruptly, but it was just kind of like, you've been here for so long, and you'll do the title some good, because it's a new title.
What about your first tag team titles?
I have never been tag team champion, ever.
Would you like to be a tag team?
Just kind of recently started really getting into the tag team game. And I did a lot of that in other parts of southern Indiana, like in Clarksville or not Clarksville, but Madison, Jeffersonville, and Memphis, Indiana are three places that me and this guy are traveling to. And that's just really in between my Coliseum booking, which is only like once a month. So it is kind of like the Coliseum's more of my focus, but that's where I do my single stuff, and everywhere else I'm doing this tag team thing. I'm just trying to work my way in there.
So would you want to ever be a tag team champion?
Man, that's a possibility. I mean, we just really started rolling with this tag team thing about a month ago, so it's a large possibility.
So I know, I don't know if you remember, but they used to have a Freebird gimmick where they had three guys and one guy defended the title. So do you have three guys or no? Like you and two other guys, or just you and one guy?
No, it's just me by myself. It's just me and it's me and the other guy. Like, it's not we don't got like a stable or anything. It's me and this other guy. We're baby faces now, so it works.
So, would you, let's say I was a new wrestler, what would you tell me to get the other wrestlers' respect?
Always be respectful. Always. You gotta, don't fold under the pressure. Just handle every day one at a time. Because if you get too far ahead of yourself trying to prove yourself to everybody, that's when people start thinking you're arrogant and cocky, and that's when things start to fall apart. And you just got to take it every day, one at a time, and just like I said, be very respectful. Introduce yourself to everybody in the locker room. Know your craft. I mean, know what you're doing, because no matter how respectful you are, if you don't carry yourself like you know what you're doing, they're automatically going to think you're some idiot.
That's really good. I heard rumors through other people, and I asked the same guest the same questions, and I was wondering, do you shake everybody's hands coming in and out of the show?
Yes, definitely. That's part of it. That's part of introducing yourself to everybody. You go up and you shake everybody's hand. No matter if you've seen them 3 times in one weekend, you shake everybody's hand.
That sounds cool. Respect is the most important thing in this business.
Yes.
So let's say you wanted to wrestle someone. Let's say you're in a tag team match, and you wanted to pick someone from the past. Who would your tag team partner be? Like,
my tag team partner, as far as guys that would kind of like gel with what I do, as far as like gimmick wise and stuff, it would be Brian Pillman. Easy.
So you like the loose cannon?
Yeah.
So who would you want to face if you're a tag team partner with Brian Pillman?
See, that's where that gets kind of difficult, because as far as like a heel tag team or just a tag team in general, I was really into the Hollywood Blondes. So like that would be kind of hard to do. Other than that, I would probably say Owen Arn Anderson or Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard.
It sounds like you know your old wrestlers.
Yeah.
So
about all I do is watch wrestling, man. I do that, and I work for myself, so I have a lot of time just to have wrestling on.
So you respect the old guys who built the company, like say from the people from the past that passed the torch on.
Right.
So if you were to, let's say you were the next person to pass the torch, how would you pass the next torch to the next person coming up?
Like I would probably, like we're miles away from that. Like I haven't even had the torch passed to me yet. But I think I would do it. I would retire and I would walk away from wrestling for good. And I would just have this guy, like we would build up. I would be the heel in the situation, and I would just put him over clean and just kind of like have the hero vanquish the villain.
Yeah, because I was thinking of that question, and I seen you were watching the old wrestling, and I wanted to know your opinion on that. And if I was being disrespectful, I apologize.
Oh no, you're fine. It's just I haven't put much thought into that, because I mean I'm far from being on that end of the rope. So, but I think that would be the ideal scenario.
Let's say,
Like, like I would pick a day to be like, I'm retired on this day. Hopefully it'd be like a year out. Hopefully and I'd be like, I want to work with so and so, and I want to build them to be where I'm at eventually. And the first step is to hand them the torch, and hopefully they're ready to run with it by the time the end of the season's over.
So you would like to be a heavyweight champion?
Yeah, I mean, really, that's everybody's goal, or should be. You want to be the best wherever you're at, and that's just kind of a token saying, hey, this place believes in you.
That's called respect. Again, it's everybody has to respect what you do, and if you respect them, they'll respect you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like that's what not me, what you do is respect people. You know what I mean? It's pretty hard to explain. You know what I mean? If I'm a little jittery because I'm off on my game tonight. So let's say you wanted to wrestle anywhere around the world. Where would you want to wrestle?
New Japan. Like I've always been a fan of the Japanese wrestling because I didn't have cable growing up, and I was actually just telling this story last night. I didn't have cable growing up, so about all I had was like tapes and stuff because a lot of my friends were older, and they enjoyed wrestling, and they had like the Pro Wrestling Illustrated and stuff, and they would order these Japanese tapes out of those magazines, and that's how we would watch wrestling, is for these tapes.
And can you tell our listeners some of the matches you've seen?
Man, I can't remember right offhand, but I just remember some of the tapes being like the best of Jushin Thunder Liger and the Great Muta, and they were just like best of tapes from like the early 90s.
Oh, they were great wrestlers.
So,
I remember.
So it was a lot of that, like the best of all Japan, and so I can't really remember any specific matches I've seen, but I remember watching on there like some Stan Hansen was on there, and Bruiser Brody. I mean, like some of the stuff was from the 80s. Like I mean, it was all like. It was all pre-94, like all the Japan stuff I watched.
Oh, I'm gonna be honest with you, and me, I like the crazy side of the wrestling. I like the hardcore, the blood, the violence, because I'm Crazy Joe. So, but I love I seen stuff that would blow people's minds away. You know what I mean? It's like, and do you like to wrestle in the hardcore scene?
Yeah, when it matters. Like I kind of here recently was like, oh, I'm gonna try this deathmatch stuff out. I mean, and it's not for everybody, man. It's just things happen and I got hurt.
I apologize for that. You know what I mean? Because I respect, like I said, I respect what you do, what the hardcore people do, the people who do the tag team single matches, everything. You know what I mean? The management, because if it wasn't for you guys, there wouldn't be no show. You know what I mean? Because it's not like, oh, okay, we're gonna just put a show on. You have to work together like a group. If you work like a team, it works great. If you don't work as a team, it just doesn't come off great. You know what I mean? You can have the best crowds in the building, and they'll pop for every match because it's not because of one person or two persons. It's because you worked as a team, and you made it come off as a group. You know what I mean? And I hope I wasn't rude to you or anything.
No, I mean, you're fine.
Because if you, so you were to wrestle in Japan, who would you want to wrestle?
Man, there's a lot in especially in New Japan that I would like to get in the ring with. Like AJ Styles comes to mind. Nakamura. Either one of the Young Bucks, or I'd like to go over there with a tag team and wrestle the Young Bucks, or Kenny Omega. I mean, the list goes on and on.
All right, let's play a little game. You're the booker. You are booking tonight's New Japan show. How would you book it from top to bottom?
Man, I don't really know, especially because like I don't want to be on here butchering anybody's name.
Well, you don't have. You can just make names up. We don't have to say real names on this show. You know what I mean?
To be honest, I wouldn't. I don't even know.
Because to me, I try to write my own little show. And
yeah, I just kind of like to stick to doing what I do, and like booking's not my forte, you know.
Yeah, no, I wasn't trying to be disrespectful, because some people like to sit around and write down a match and say, "Oh, I would do it this way," you know what I mean? I was just wondering what your mind thought was on that situation. That's all.
I don't really think of it that way. Like I kind of like going in there and doing my own thing.
And I apologize if I was rude again, because I don't like to be rude. You know what I mean? I just try to sometimes change the questions up, because I don't want them to be the same every week. You know what I mean? Because anybody who watches this show gonna say, that's the same question. You know what I mean? I want to keep it saying, oh, this guy answered something different. You know what I mean? I want to keep you guys focused on you guys, but try to keep them involved. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And do you have an upcoming show this weekend?
Saturday I'll be in Evansville, Indiana for Coliseum Championship Wrestling. It's the name of the show is Meltdown, and right now I don't have a match for the show. I'll just be there, kind of addressing my injury and stuff, and just kind of addressing like where my future lies with that company, because that's where I got hurt. So the fans are kind of like, oh, is he going to stay here? Is he just going to move on, or what's going on? That it's not so much is he going to quit wrestling, because everybody knows that I've been wrestling again since I had my stitches out and everything. So it's just kind of, I'm just addressing the crowd. And then Sunday, I will be in Memphis, Indiana for ADW.
So before we move on to that next group, can you tell our listeners, because maybe some of the listeners who are listening to this interview don't know who's on that card. Can you go through the lineup quick, or have a strict lineup?
Yeah, give me 1 second, real quick. I can actually pull that up, because I got my phone right here beside me. I got you through my headset, so I can easily just.
All right, I apologize for any problems or anything. I just, you know what I mean? I just try to think of things in my head. Sometimes my brain goes too fast.
That's all right. I mean, it's a good chance to plug this show and everything.
Yeah, because that's another reason I like to have the guys come on, so they can plug their company, where they're going to be, what other companies, what merchandise you have. You know what I mean? It's everybody gets a plug. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right. The show is going to be July 18th, which is this Saturday. Front row tickets are $12. General admission is $10. Vets and kids under 5, or veterans our tickets are $5. Kids 5 and under are free. The doors will open at 6:30. Bell time's at 7:30. The matches that have been announced already, the main event will be a Tri-State Championship match between the Real Deal Derek Neal and the champion, the Iron Demon Shane Mercer. And then we have a TCW heavyweight title match between Big Leaf Byford and the champion, the Hood Ninja Isaiah. We got a tag team title match. It's Team IOU versus the champions, the Viking War Party. Got a big debut tag team match, which is Roscoe Eat Lisa versus the Rejects, which is Reed Murdoch and Reed Bentley and John Lake Murdoch. Sorry about that. Then we have the sports entertainer Nick Depp versus J.C. Rotten. Shank Barzini versus Chad Rockman. The Phoenix Dale Patricks versus Diamond Cut Ace Perry. Joseph Schwartz versus the Jimtown Hero Chase Nally. And then a few other guys that are going to be on the show is Aiden Blackheart, Shadow Satu, Juicy Jimmy Felcher, Father Fear, and there's a lot more. And then we have my big promo spot explaining to fans to what my future was in CCW. So, and then we have a pre-show which will contain guys like Big Zo and Shadow Satu and those guys. The pre-show starts at 6:45. So if you're there at 6:30, come on in. We got a pre-show, so gotta get a special bonus match if you're there early. So
you did a good job of that.
Well, thank you.
You sound professional. Hey, I could never pull that off.
I'm gonna go ahead and plug some of our sponsors for the show as well. We have Big Top. Okay, we got Big Top Drive-In, which is on 1213 West Maryland Street in Evansville, Indiana. The Lucky Lady, which is at 523 North Main Street, Evansville, Indiana. Brick Pizzeria, which is at 101 Northwest 1st Street in Evansville, Indiana. Mojo's Barnyard Bar and Grill, which is at 4920 Bellmead Avenue in Evansville, Indiana. Mako Retrographics, Danks and Danks Attorney at Law, and Becca Matthews Design.
Hey, can I ask you a question?
What's up, man?
And if I wanted to open and you probably don't notice, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful again, I always had a dream to open my own wrestling fed. How would I go out and get all the sponsors?
Man, I don't really handle that side of things, but I mean, I guess the best way to do it would be to go in dressed as professional as possible and just act or just talk intelligent when you're going in there and talking to these people. Because if you go in there and you sound like some just guy off the street, I mean, they're not going to give you money. Go in there ready. Show them what you do. Things like that.
Yeah, because I was wondering, because like I said, it sounds like you could have your own company, my friend. You got the whole package. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what about the show you're going to be on Sunday?
The card hasn't been released, but me and my tag team partner Matt Atreya will both be there. So
So, if you don't mind, can I ask you what you do on your free time from wrestling?
Like I said, I work for myself, so and I'm an artist. So basically, I draw things, and basically, I do a lot of comic book work. So, so basically, if anybody wants like a framed picture to hang up in their house, like say they like Spider-Man, for example, and they got like their man cave and they're decorated, and they want some Spider-Man pictures done, they'll pay me and I'll draw them.
That's pretty cool. You never know. I might say, hey, why don't you draw me an eagle? Because I'm a big eagle fan. So, you know what I mean. So did you ever
I do multiple types of art. Like I do paintings, and I do. I've been working with tagging with like spray paint. I've been working on. I've done a few of those. I've got. But my big thing is I like to sketch.
That's pretty good. Like I said, I'm not a good painter. I probably can't do that, and I'm not good at this, but I do try, and I give you this respect for what you do. You know what I mean? You're a wrestler, an artist. Did you ever think about drawing wrestlers?
I'm sorry, what? Oh, drawing wrestlers?
Yes.
I haven't really experimented with that yet, but a lot of my stuff comes off very comic booky, so it wouldn't be like, say, a portrait. It would be like a comic book version or like an anime type version.
So I got some time. Why don't you tell us, how would you make Total Chaos Pecaw into a comic book?
Man, I really don't know. Like,
see, I put you on the spot, and I apologize.
Yeah, kind of put me on the spot with there. Like that would actually take some time.
So
let's think about.
Let's go another direction. Let's say there's a mask guy, and how would we put this person over? Like his name is I don't want to use your name, but because that's where I want to go with the comic book. And you tell the listeners about your career and everything. How would you do that as the comic book guy?
For example, like I'm the alpha werewolf. Like I would go into like a kind of like a horror story, but not really a horror story. Like obviously be the hero in the situation and just kind of live out and don't really associate wrestling with it. It would just be, yeah, you got this wrestler, but I mean this is like, you know what I'm saying? Like
I put you under the
like
spot again.
Have villains for him to beat and things like that.
I put you under the spot, and I apologize for that. You know what I mean? And I was just trying to get your ideas. You know what I mean? These ain't my ideas. These are yours, and I wouldn't take your ideas because that's not cool. You know what I mean? I was just trying to get some impact on you, so our listeners know something about you. You know what I mean? That's what I was trying to get, because I wanted you to make your own little comic book about you. And I apologize.
And I mean, I've actually kicked that idea around. So,
you know, I mean, I wasn't trying to be rude or disrespectful to you or anything. You know what I mean? I was just trying to let you build your own character up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if you thought I was being disrespectful or anything...
Oh, no, man, you're fine. You're fine.
Because I just, like I said, I'm off tonight because it's a Wednesday, you know. I mean, halfway home, happy hour. But like I said, I would love to see some of your stuff. How would our listeners get to see your stuff?
I'm getting ready to make a Facebook page, and I'll shoot that information over to you as soon as I get it up. Like, I'll do a Facebook page where you can go over there and you can like the page and just check out some of my artwork. I'm gonna start posting some of it on there. I do post some on my Instagram, which is at AHIsnow, all one word, AHISNOW.
And do you want to promo anything, like what you're going to be doing in the next, say, month?
The next few months, or like over the next month or so, we have, I've got NWA Supreme, not this Saturday, but the Saturday after. And then I have KDW again that Sunday. And then the Saturday after that, the first Saturday in August, I'll be back at CCW in Evansville for the J.C. Bailey Memorial Tournament.
And speaking of J.C. Bailey, because God, if people don't know anything about J.C. Bailey, he's a great guy. And I apologize if I'm taking anything away from your interview.
Oh, no, you're fine.
And
this tournament is to honor his memory and things like that. So,
and I wanted to explain to our listeners why you're calling it the J.C. Bailey, because he passed away. And
you're right.
J.C. Bailey was a great hardcore wrestler. Anybody who hasn't seen a J.C. Bailey wrestling match or a hardcore match, check him out. He was a great wrestler. And I apologize for taking this time, because that's something close to my heart, because I respected J.C. Bailey. You know what I mean? He did some crazy stuff. I don't know if you've seen any of his matches. He had a match with Thumbtack Jack. You know who he is?
Yeah, I know who that is.
Because he wrestled out of Germany.
Yeah.
Because I see some stuff that, like I said before, I see a lot of hardcore wrestling stuff.
Well, like I remember when I was younger seeing matches between him and Madman Pondo.
To me, I was at a CZW show. I seen Nick Gage against Thumbtack Jack. And I usually don't like to take the interview away from you, and if I did, I apologize again.
You're all right, man.
And it was Nick Gage against Thumbtack Jack. And Jack threw him into the light tubes, and the one light tube stayed up in the air, and Nicky went right through it and cut his main artery.
Well, see, like, that's similar to what happened to me. Like, the guy laid the light tubes on me and done a cannonball, and when he did, it just broke and it stabbed into my shoulder.
And can I ask you a question without being rude? And like I said, I don't like to be disrespectful, and I apologize for saying rude, disrespectful, and all that happy-go-lucky stuff, but I want you to know that I appreciate what you do. Some of the people think light tubes are not the real thing, because I know it's real, because I'm there. I'm right there.
Yeah, they're the real thing.
You know what I mean? It's like, they say, oh, it's fake blood. No, it ain't fake blood. What the hell's wrong with you people? I sat there watching stuff that your eyes would be amazed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so can you tell our listeners how it feels after you get hit with a light tube or chair or anything that you got hit with?
A chair, it really depends on where you get hit. Like, you get hit over the head, like, You know it. I mean, you get hit in the back, man. It stinks more than anything. Like in a light tube, again, depends on where you get hit. If you get hit across the back or whatever, like the little shards, like they'll touch it, you can kind of feel them like just like slowly roll down your back. It is an odd feeling. It feels like somebody dumped water on you. And like as far as when it rolls down, like it feels like somebody's like water rolling down your back. And part of that's blood, and part of that is like the little shards of glass.
And what about barbed wire?
It's kind of hard to describe. Like it's hard to describe unless you do it.
Me, like I said, I watch, and I didn't know you're into the hardcore, because it sounds like you are, because you said you took a light tube, and I apologize. I hope you're feeling good. I hope to see you in the near future on your shows.
Yeah, man, I'm feeling much better. I just kind of been getting out there and wrestling again, man. Just trying to like. I mean, I know I was only out for a couple weeks, but a couple weeks for me is like a fan going to show once a month. It seems like But me, like I wrestle, like I'm off wrestling for like 2 weeks, especially like laid up and really can't do anything. Like it sucks. I mean, life's boring.
And you're probably wondering, come on, when is this gonna? I want to get back to what I really love, and that's wrestling. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like that was my thoughts the whole time. I was like, man, this sucks. Like I just want to get back to doing what I love. And the more I laid there, the more I thought about wrestling, and the more I missed it.
And it sounds like it that you miss the wrestling. And I apologize that we're going back to that. Can you tell our listeners who's going to be on that J.C. Bailey show?
Let me go and look real quick and see who's been announced for it, and I will definitely do that.
Because I would like to, because J.C. Bailey, and I'm not going to say nothing negative about the man. He was a hardworking person. He always gave the people his money's worth. When you see a J.C. Bailey match, that man worked his ass off. You know what I mean? And God bless his soul, because I would never take some of the shit I seen. Like I seen DJ Hyde against Thumbtack Jack, where Thumbtack Jack put syringes in his mouth. You know what I mean? It's like, ugh. And it's like, even cinder blocks to the head. It's like, wow. And you gotta, and like I said, I respect the guys who are willing to go out there and do that. It's like, some people say it's insane. You know what I mean? But they love to do that.
I got the guys that have been announced so far. There's only been 10 announced so far for the tournament. And it's a 12-man tournament, but 10 have been announced so far. You got the defending, the one who won the initial one last year, and the current CCW heavyweight champion, the Hood Ninja Isaiah. You've got the Monster Congo Kong, CCW champion, Tri-State champion, the Iron Demon Shane Mercer, Cash Flow, the CCW Hardcore champion John Wayne Murdoch, Reed by God Bentley, Ace Perry, Menace, the Real Deal Derek Neal, and Do or Die Chip Day. And also on that show, they're going to have a 12-man ladder match. We had a ladder match last year to crown the first Tri-State champion. And the match was such a hit, they brought it back this year. Except for this year, instead of having only 4 men in it, we're going to have 12 men. It's going to be a 12-man ladder match for a CCW title shot of their choosing. So it could be a tag team championship match, a hardcore championship match, a Tri-State championship match, or a heavyweight championship match. And the guys that have been announced so far are Chad Rockman, Shanks the Freak Barzini, and the sports entertainer Nick Depp. And
Like
there's plenty more to be announced for that match.
Well, like I said, you're pretty good at promoting, my friend. I could never do this. And I give you the credit to do what you could do. It sounds like...
And on that night, ticket prices are gonna vary. It's gonna be $15 for VIP front row, and $12 for general admission. The $15 VIP front row also comes with a VIP meet and greet with everybody that's on the show. And the meet and greet will start at 5:30. Doors open at 6, and bell time will be at 7. And it'll be Saturday, August 1st.
And can I ask you a question? Because we only got a couple more minutes. And I was wondering, how can I see any of your stuff? Like, is there any people who videotape this or anything?
I'm sure there's some stuff out there. Like I have a few highlight videos on my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/AHIsnow. It's one word, AHISNOW. I've got some highlight videos on there. I think I've got a couple of matches on there. There's some other highlight videos that I'm in. Just go to youtube.com/WWAisnow. Again, one word, WWAISNOW. Then you can go to youtube.com/CCW Evansville, and they have a few matches on there as well.
So, does Smart Mark ever video these shows?
Actually, they did. They came and recorded the Kings of the Coliseum, which was our deathmatch tournament back in June.
And can you tell our
it's
listeners?
It's actually up on their website now.
And can you tell our listeners what that show was called?
It was the Kings of the Coliseum. It was TCW presents Kings of the Coliseum, and it was a deathmatch tournament. And you had Matt Tremont was in it, John Wayne Murdoch, Reed Bentley, J.C. Rotten, whose dad is Ian Rotten. Who else was in it? I think it was a 12-man tournament. No, I think it was a 13-man tournament because one of the opening rounds was a triple threat match.
Well, if I have to check that out because I'm into the hardcore stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love that.
It's up on their website, man. They got DVDs, they've got Blu-rays, and you can even download a digital version of the show. Got commentary, everything.
That's pretty good. So, and I apologize for being off my game this week because usually I'm on top of everything, you know what I mean? And it's like I said,
yeah.
And I apologize.
DVDs and DVDs as well will be available at the shows. I believe the first show they're going to be available at is August 1st at the J.C. Bailey Memorial Tournament. Will be the first show that those DVDs will be for sale at the show.
And I would like to have you on in a future date because to me, I didn't help you out, and I apologize. You know what I mean? Because, and if you want to come back, we're willing to have you back on again.
All right, man. I'd be more than happy to come back on. Maybe you could watch some of my stuff and get more familiar with me, so we have more things to talk about.
Yeah, because like I said, I'm off my game. Usually I'm on top of everything, and it's not flowing. You know what I mean? And I apologize for that, and I really am because to me I felt like I disrespected you, and I didn't mean to do
man,
that.
You're good. I mean, things happen. You know,
Yeah,
it was. I mean, it was a good interview. I mean, you didn't step on my toes too bad. I mean, you kind of threw a couple curveballs at me, but I mean, that's part of it.
You know what I mean? And I don't want you to say, "Oh, that guy was a dick" or anything. It's just I
Oh,
didn't
no,
know.
I mean, you were respectful.
You know what I mean? I just didn't want to. And I will make a promise to you that I will check out some of your shit. And do you have any merchandise to buy?
Right now, all I have is I have some pictures and some keychains. I just sold out of shirts. Hopefully, I'll be designing a new shirt soon, so we'll have that up in the near future, and we'll be get those printed.
So
For updates as far as that, you can go to my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/AHisNow, just the same as everything else. And you can also follow me on Twitter, which is @AHisNow.
And like I said again, I apologize for being off my game this week because, you know what I mean, usually I'm on top of everything, and this week I'm a little off. You know what I mean? And I apologize.
It happens to everybody, man.
All right, and I will make sure next time I see you that we will be on our game and we'll have the best damn interview we could pull off.
All right, man. Sounds good.
All right, have a good night, my friend. And that was Andrew. That was Andrew Hunter, and he is the next future star, and you could trust me on that one. And Total Chaos Pecaw fans, and I like to apologize to our listeners for having a bad night. Usually, I'm a little on my game, and I really am apologizing. And it makes me sad because I didn't push this guy how I wanted to, because I like to push the young kids. And I apologize to Andrew Hunter. And that in the future time he comes back on, he will get my respect. And I will treat him like gold. And that is it for this week's Total Chaos Pecaw. Check me out next week. All right, that's a wrap.